high school student named Alex Browning is preparing for his trip to Paris, France, and his mother helps him pack his suitcase. Alex's father cheers him on and asks to live it up on his 10-day trip. At John F. Kennedy International Airport, other students are also going on a trip to France. Standing inside the departure lounge, Alex takes a look at the Boeing 747 airplane by which he is going to fly to Paris. Shortly, he and his friends board the plane. Alex takes a window seat and begins to wind down. On the other hand, Todd, Alex's close friend, refuses to switch his seat with his Blake and Krista. After which, Blake and Krista approach Alex and make a humble request to him to switch his window seat to Blake. Being a gentleman, he gives his seat to Blake. He comes and sits next to Todd. He notices that the back of the chair drops on its own and its hook also comes off. Alex feels something fishy in his heart about this plane. The Boeing 787 aeroplane takes off. When everyone is thrilled for their trip to France, Alex gets into a tizzy. After a little while, the plane begins to face turbulence, causing the people to freak out. Soon, the plane starts falling apart and ultimately it explodes, causing the boarded passenger to burn alive. The very next moment, Alex wakes up and finds Krista and Blake requesting him to switch his seat with them, meaning Alex had a nightmare. He goes to the window seat and finds the hook of the seat ahead of him coming off, proving the fact that whatever he just saw in his nightmare is about to happen. He warns everyone on the plane to get off the plane as it is about to blow off very soon. Carter, who does not like Alex, falls on Alex for this joke, but they are pulled apart by the crew and get turned out. Claire, a classmate of Alex, also gives up her seat, believing Alex. Alex, his best friend Todd, Carter, and his girlfriend Terry were kicked out of the plane. At the departure lounge, teacher Valerie Luton requests Larry, a French guide, to accompany the rest 36 students on the plane, as he is the only one who knows French. So Larry goes to guide the remaining 36 students on the plane. Alex tells his teacher that he had a premonition that the plane was about to explode. Carter is not happy at all after being kicked out of the plane. This angers Alex, causing him to lunge upon him. When Carter and Alex were engaged in hurting each other, the plane exploded outside as soon as it took off from the runway. The explosion is so violent that the thud of the explosion shatters the glass of the departure lounge. On seeing the plane exploding before their eyes, everyone is freaked out, meaning Alex can see the incoming death of anyone. Carter, Miss Luton, Terry, and Todd look at Alex as if all of them were thanking Alex for saving their lives. In the waiting room, when Alex, Todd, Carter, and his girlfriend Terry were waiting for their parents, two FBI agents, Wyna and Shrek, arrive there. Agent Wyna tells them that he is gonna detain them for further investigation. Agent Wyna looks at Alex suspiciously. In the following scene, Agent Shrek interrogates Alex about how he knew the plane was about to explode. Alex responds that he himself doesn't know how he got to know about it. Now Claire is interrogated by the agents. Agent Wyna asks her why she left the plane, as she was neither forced to leave the plane nor she had seen the plane exploding in her dream. In response to this question, she says, "I believed what Alex said in the plane." Next, Alex's parents and the parents of other students turn up in the waiting room, but we notice one thing, that no one came to meet Claire, meaning her parents are no more in this world. Alex returns to his house with his parents, but he is very sorrowful after the unfortunate incident. Todd is at his house and it is a windy night outside. He sits on the commode to defecate, unbeknown to the fact that the tap below is leaking. While shaving his beard, Todd spots some kind of shadowy entity behind him, causing him to look back but finds no one around. In the meantime, the spilt water starts approaching Todd. Todd unplugs the radio and pulls back from the approaching spilt water. Alex looks through the newspaper at his house, and just then an owl arrives at the window. Alex throws the newspaper at the owl to drive it away. The owl flies away from there, but in this, his newspaper is broken into uncountable pieces by the table fan. One of the shattered pieces of the newspaper is picked up by Alex with Todd's name on it, meaning it is Todd's turn to die. At Todd's, the spilt water reaches Todd and causes him to slip. He falls into the bathtub and begins to be choked by the handled shower. He flounders to get himself free from the choking handled shower and desperately strives to get hold of the scissors placed nearby, but lose the battle of life and dies painfully. After doing its job, the water flows back under the toilet. Alex reaches Todd's house, but it was too late, as Todd had died by then. Clear is also hiding behind a tree and whispers to Alex to get away from there. Todd's father comes to Alex and tells him that Todd took his own life. Alex finds Agent Wayne and Agent Shrek at the crime spot. Next day, Alex arrives at Clear's house. He asks her why she went to Todd's house last night. She tells him that she felt what he felt on the plane. I couldn't see what you saw. However, I managed to feel that. Alex and Clear go to mortuary where Todd is lying dead on the stretcher. The mortician informs the duo that Todd didn't die naturally. You have to be careful, as the death is lurking around you too. At a restaurant, Alex shows Clear the piece of the newspaper on which Todd's name is written. She asks him if he had a premonition about Todd's death too. On this, Alex responds, "No, but I had some bad feeling that something bad was about to happen once again." That's when Alex sees the reflection of a moving bus in the mirror. He looks around but doesn't see any moving bus nearby. He tells Clear that Todd, Carter, Terry, Billy, Miss Luton, you and I have avoided our death somehow or the other by getting off the plane in time. We deceived our death, but it doesn't mean that it has stopped chasing us. We will die now or later, unless we find the patterns and cheat it again. In a little while, Carter with Terry arrives there by car. Both Alex and Carter get into a verbal fight, causing Terry to get sick of it. She blows up at Carter and pulls back, but just then a speeding bus runs over Terry, killing her. Meaning, it was Terry's turn to die. Actually, Alex had already seen the reflection of the speeding bus in the mirror while talking to Clear. At his house, Alex begins to draw death's design to detect whose turn is next. He notices that Todd was the first one to go, then it was Terry. Both Todd and Terry died in the order they were supposed to be dying. Now, as per death's design made by Alex, Miss Luton is next in line, denoting Miss Luton is about to die next. Miss Luton is at her house and talking to someone on the phone. During her conversation, Miss Luton finds Alex stalking her outside. Without any delay, she informs Agent Shrek. Soon, both the agents arrive there and begin to interrogate him what he is doing there. Alex responds that he is just checking the air in the tire, but the agents don't find it a valid reason and apprehend him. In the investigation room, Alex tells Agent Wayne that Miss Luton's is next to die because death is chasing her in a fixed pattern, and I'm going to break this pattern as quickly as possible. Next, Miss Luton is in her kitchen and wiping off the dust from kettle. She finds a shadowy reflection on the kettle, prompting her to look back, but she spots no one around. As soon as she pours wine into the cup cracks, letting the wine leak. With the leaking cup, Miss Luton gets near her computer and unknowingly spills some drops of wine on the computer. The drops of wine get into the interior of the computer, causing a short circuit. Miss Luton gets up and checks on the computer. Just then, the computer explodes, causing Miss Luton to start bleeding from the neck. Her spilling blood begins to make a serpentine line, followed by fire. Soon, the fire reaches the bottle of the wine, which causes a fierce explosion. Miss Luton is severely wounded. She desperately tries to grab the hanging towel, but instead of the towel, kitchen knives fall upon her. Meanwhile, Alex makes an entrance into Miss Luton's house. He finds her nearing her death, as a kitchen knife was stuck in her stomach. Alex encourages her to stay still and then goes to pull out the knife himself, but right then, a chair falls onto the knife, ultimately leading Miss Luton to her death. Alex pulls out the knife in haste, but soon realizes his blunder and drops the blood-stained knife and runs away. Alex had hardly run out of the house when the whole house exploded. Billy also sees Alex fleeing as he was passing from there by his bicycle. In the following scene, Billy, Carter, and Clear go in search of Alex, as he is the only one who knows whose turn is next. After roaming from pillar to post, Clear succeeds in finding Alex in a remote area, sitting and looking at the night sky. Here, Clear begins to tell Alex how she lost her father. She tells him that when she was 10 years old, her father went to get cigarettes from a shop. Then someone asked him not to look back, but he did, thinking it was a friend, joking. That's when a guy blew his head off. Following this incident, my mother married the man whom my father always detested. Alex, I have always dreamt of such a place where my father is still alive and safe. Our friends are also there in the sky. Next, Alex, Clear, Bill, and Carter are in search of a safer place. Clear tells Alex that Billy informed the FBI that he saw you running from Miss Luton's house. Then Alex says, I had no other choice but to run away from there. Otherwise, the FBI would have arrested me on the charges of killing Miss Luton, as they already suspect me of being involved in all the killings. Carter asks Alex whether he had any premonition about the death of Miss Luton or not. Alex answers in the affirmative. Then Carter asks Alex who is next in line. Then Alex says, it doesn't matter who is next, because we are all on the same list. Hearing this, Carter gets crazy and begins to drive the car frantically. He stops the car on the railway track and begins to wait for the train to be chopped off. Clear commands him to start the car, but he doesn't. So, Clear, Alex, and Billy get off the car. Alex constantly persuades Carter to get out of the car as the train is speeding up towards them. Saying it is not my time to die, Carter starts the car, but the car doesn't start. So he tries to open the door, but the door also doesn't open. Meaning, Carter is stuck inside the car, but Alex pulls him out of the car in time, saving him. Billy gets furious with Carter and says to him, you are bound to die, so I am staying away from you. Billy was taking out his frustration on Carter just then. A metallic piece comes flying and slashes Billy's head, beheading him. Alex gets up and says, Carter, it should have been you. It was your turn to die after Luton according to the pattern. Now, Alex says, it's my turn after Billy. In his house, Alex locks himself because he is next, but he is ready to deal with it. An ice cream box falls rolling, causing the door to open, but Alex shuts it again, restricting the dagger to pierce through his chest, meaning he has avoided his death for the time being. Alex says, I can defeat you. In the following scene, Alex is calculating whose number is next. Then, he learns that Clear has to play the game of death now. Outside her house, Clear finds a sparking wire that just came off the electric pole. On the other hand, Alex rushes to Clear's house but is chased by the police. He begins to cross the river by boat to reach Clear's house in time. The dancing sparking wire is went on putting Clear to death by electrocuting her, but she manages to get inside the house through the window. Thereafter, she resorts to her car to flee, but her car is stuck there and can't move. But in the meantime, Alex comes there and attacks the dancing sparking wire with an axe. The sparking wire gets under the car and sets it on fire. To save Clear, he grabs the sparking wire, intending to redirect the fatal current from Clear to himself. Soon, a fierce explosion happens, in which Alex is thrown flying back into the garage. Clear rushes to him and checks on him, as he is not breathing. 6 months later, Alex, Carter, and Clear are in Paris, meaning Alex had survived the explosion somehow or the other. Carter says to Alex and Clear, I am very happy that the cycle of death has ended and I am the safest man now, but you may be still next. Right then, Alex feels something very bad around him, so he leaves the table and asks Clear to stay where she is. Alex was about to be thrashed by a billboard, but he is saved by Carter in time. Carter gets up and says, I told you, you were next, but that's when a piece of the dangling billboard breaks free, striking Carter and killing him. And with this scene, this movie comes to an end.